Hello and welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Show. I am your host, Jay Jones. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the Black community by promoting business ownership. If you are currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, we invite you to join us every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint.
Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 261. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today's show topic is Own the Effort, Leveraging Your Own Effort for Profit. 4 questions you need to ask yourself. Own the effort, leveraging your own effort for profit. 4 questions you need to ask yourself. Now, before we get to today's episode, I just want to share a few things with the BEB family. First and foremost, if you are a first-time listener to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, welcome to the BEB family. And please stick around till the end of today's episode. I'm going to share all of my social media contact information. And please connect with me via social media. Number 2, my new book is out, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. So if you're interested in building a successful, sustainable e-commerce business, please go to anewblackwallstreet.com. Pick yourself up a copy. It's $14.95 plus shipping and handling. Now, if you need additional assistance building your successful, sustainable e-commerce business, I've created a compatible online course titled Educated E-Commerce, which takes you from point A to point Z in terms of building a successful e-commerce business on all the major platforms in addition to your own platform. So go to educatedecommerce.com and you can enroll in that course. Now, I've also created 2 additional platforms to help circulate the black dollar worldwide. That's what this is all about, guys. Building a worldwide black economy, building a power base in the worldwide black economy. So the first site I want to tell you about is besmartbyblack.com. And so for all you black product producers, you can connect with black consumers worldwide by uploading your information for your products, and it's free. And now you can transact business worldwide in the black community. Now, for all you freelancers, if you do anything on Fiverr.com or freelancer.com, the other platform I created is hireblackfreelancers.com, HIRE, blackfreelancers.com. Same concept. So any freelancer who wants to connect with black consumers and businesses worldwide, just upload your information. Now, also, if you need me to come out, if you're interested in me speaking at any colleges, schools, organizations, my book tour, please go to bookjjones.com. bookjjones.com. Fill out a short form and I'll get right back to you. That was a mouthful, so we're getting ready to get into today's episode, so hold tight. So today, family, we're going to talk about owning the effort, leveraging your own effort for profit. 4 questions you need to ask yourself. So just to break it down in terms of owning your effort, so corporate is actually leveraging your effort. So whatever you do in your job, that's somebody else or an institution leveraging your effort. So what we're talking about today, guys, is owning that effort. If you're going to go and do the effort, why don't you own it? So if you're doing the work, own it, but you're actually giving your work away. You're actually trading it for dollars. And I get it. Certain professions you can't create. If you want to be a police officer, you can't create that. If you want to be a firefighter, you can't create that. And I understand that. But if you're in a situation where you're putting in the effort, why not let the effort benefit you? So if you've listened to the show for any period of time, I talk about how I probably was one of the worst employees ever created. Not that I didn't do the work, but every time I went into a new business situation or a new job, I would always look at the macro, not just what I was doing, which was the micro, but the macro. How did I fit into what was going on? How was this company making money? What type of effort was I putting into that? And was I getting compensated fairly for the effort that I was putting in? So when you start looking at your job like that, a lot of times it's going to be a jaded view, because you're going to see what work you do, and then you may look at the output and what the company makes, and then you start thinking to yourself, wow, they're making all of this money, but I'm doing all the hard work. So sometimes you have to really look at the macro as opposed to the micro. So corporate is leveraging your efforts. So why not own the effort? Okay. And also, guys, before we get into this, you need to have an empowerment mindset. An empowerment mindset. And we always talk about making money, and that's all fine and dandy. But you have to have the mindset to empower yourself to think a certain way if you're not already thinking that way. And I know with this show, I have a lot of current entrepreneurs and I have a lot of prospective entrepreneurs that listen. So you have to have the empowerment mindset. Once again, owning your effort. And really, guys, it really just makes sense to own the effort. Once again, I know you may have to put yourself in position to do that, but today we're going to talk about 4 questions you need to ask yourself. But before we go into those 4 questions, I'm just going to give you a couple of examples just to clarify what I'm talking about when I say own the effort. So if you're a CPA, you work for one of the major firms out there, what's your effort? Preparing taxes, audits or whatever. So you can start and own your own CPA firm. Okay, that's owning your effort. Even something if you're a solar panel installer, okay, start your own company or start an own installation company that installs solar panels for other companies. Owning your effort. If you're a salesperson, and this is probably one of the easiest things out there, sell for yourself. So you may not be able to sell the exact product or service that you're selling in your company, but if you're a good salesperson, you can pretty much sell anything as long as you educate yourself and you understand the hot buttons for your customers. Problem, solution, result. All right. If you're a journalist, instead of working for a paper, and maybe even if you do, create your own publication. Owning the effort. If you're going to put the effort in, family, why not get the benefit from it? All right. So we're going to talk about 4 questions, and today's going to be a short show. Summertime, and I'm traveling a little bit, so it's not going to be a super long show, but it's going to be impactful. So question number 1, what part your effort plays in your employer's success? What part does your effort play in your employer's success? And I touched on that briefly. So I'm going to give you a real life example. So when I was in advertising sales, I was working for Gannett, which is one of the largest media companies out there, and they own the USA Today newspaper. And so as the sales force or part of the advertising sales division, I started looking at all the revenue that we were bringing in. And anytime you're in sales, you are in the revenue generation department. Everything else revolves around how much money you can bring in for the company. And so I started looking at all of the numbers that we would do, because each week we would get the sales numbers. How much, hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars we'd be doing each month. And I thought about it and I'm like, wow, the company is doing this. Yes, they have overhead and they have, other things they have to pay. But I'm like, man, we're making a small fraction of what we're generating. So is there a way that I can do what I'm doing now for myself and generate more, or just as much or more money? So what part of the effort do you play in your employer's success? That's the first question. So you have to, once again, start thinking macro. Even if you're not in the sales function, even if you're in a support function. Okay. And I say this all the time. If you have a job, that means that you have a skill or a talent that somebody will pay for. I don't care if you sweep floors. If you're a custodian, that's a skill or a talent that somebody is paying you for. So don't short yourself, okay? You don't have to have a high CEO level type job to have value. If somebody's paying you to do something, you have value. So question number 1, what part does your effort play in your employer's success? You need to think about that. Question number 2, Can you personally monetize your effort outside of your workplace? Can you personally monetize your effort outside of your workplace? Now, I know sometimes you don't want to have a conflict of interest. So if you're selling a product and then you try to resell the same product outside of the workforce, that may be a conflict of interest. But can you monetize your effort outside of your workplace? So, for example, if you're a custodian in a school, you work from whatever time during the day and you get off, can you create a custodial company, a cleaning company at night? Can you personally monetize your effort outside of the workforce? Once again, the HVAC industry. I have a good buddy of mine who works for a HVAC company, but he does a whole bunch of side work where he's making great money, taking whatever his skill and his effort is, and now he's putting it into his own business that he has on the side. So question number 2 is, can you personally monetize your effort outside of the workplace? Question number 3, how can you create income from your effort? Okay, and once again, it all depends on what type of effort that you're putting in. Certain types of effort are going to bring back more money than other types of effort. Okay, if you can program a computer or do coding, that may pay you more than somebody that's doing janitorial work on the side. So how can you create income from your effort? And one of the things that a great or good entrepreneur does is they think. They take the time to think. And a lot of times we don't do that. We're so busy running after the dollar that we don't take the time to think. You need to create a certain time of day. Mine is usually in the morning, where I sit down and I just relax and I think or meditate. I could be in the bed doing it before I actually get up, or sometime I'll do it while I'm eating breakfast. But it's time to think. So how can you create income from your effort? Question number 4. Can you scale the effort exponentially to increase your income? Can you scale the effort exponentially to increase your income? Now, this is where we get in from trading hours for dollars, because we only have so many hours, to be able to scale your business. So if we all only have 24 hours a day, if I'm selling face to face, that means the maximum I could sell is 24 hours a day if I could stay up that long. Can you scale your business? And that's where wealth comes, in the scalability of your business. So if you create a commercial cleaning business, yes, you can have your own efforts, but what you want to do is to be able to scale that. That's when you can hire and employ other people. And now instead of having just one location you can clean at a time, you can clean multiple locations. That's what another one of my buddies does. He works full time, but he has a cleaning business, and he has, I think right now he has about 24, 25 employees, and he also opened a branch in another city. And so can you scale your effort exponentially? And guys, what this all comes down to is having that empowerment mindset. Because once again, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox, but once again, that's what we were all taught. Go to school, get a good job, and now use your efforts or let other people leverage your efforts versus you owning your effort. And that's what today's show is about, owning the effort, leveraging your effort for profit. So we as a people, and I'm a little hyped up today. I got to tell you, I've just finished watching a couple of documentaries. So y'all, I'm about to go in a little bit. But once again, I'll say it. We're the only people that don't really pay attention to the economics of our community. Okay, I was out in LA the other week, about 2 weeks ago, I guess, by the time this airs, and they have Koreatown. And I was just reading about Koreatown, and 15, 20 years ago, Koreatown was a tiny town, tiny part of Los Angeles. Now it's continued to grow. And see, one of the things that growth entails is you have to support institutions or have institutions in order for our community to grow, such as banking institutions, which we don't support. Okay. And we're going to talk about that one day too. We're actually going to be trying to bring on some key banking personnel onto the podcast, and we're going to talk about that. But in order to grow your economy, you're going to need to have and support institutions. Okay, do you guys know that it was actually illegal for black folk to have life insurance? They could have burial policies, but years ago it was illegal for black people to have life insurance. So what that's telling you is they don't want any generational wealth passed down. So if you don't recognize it's a war going on out here, it's a covert war, and it's overt, but it's more so covert right now. No hoods walking around pretty much, but you know what's going on. So we need to have that empowerment mindset, not just for us personally, but what can you do for your community? You got to take care of home first, obviously, but think a little deeper than that. You know, I was listening to, I think it was Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, and this is something that he said, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but he said 1 out of 5 Nike shoes is purchased by black males. I'm going to repeat that. 1 out of every 5 pairs of Nike shoes is purchased by a black male. Okay. And his question was, he said, you know, with all of these athletes out here, we don't have anybody that can make their own shoe. And I started looking around, and I'm guilty of this too. Right now I got on a Nike shirt. I said, damn, I need to start promoting my own clothing line, or whatever I wear, instead of promoting somebody else, have my own thing, even if it doesn't sell, even if it's just for my benefit. But you have to think about that. So that's 1 out of 5. That's, oh man, that's 20%. And we only make up how much percent of the population in the United States? Then something else he said was it was worse. He said black women are 6% of the U.S. population and buy 27% of all the shoes and perfumes sold in the United States. I'm going to repeat that. Black women are only 6% of the U.S. population, but buy 27% of all the shoes and perfume sold in the United States. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this picture that I'm painting right here? We're giving our money to other people, and we wonder why we're in the economic situation that we're in. We need to support our businesses. We need to support our institutions. We need to think with the empowerment mindset. So tying that back into what I'm talking about, guys, own your effort. Own it. Stop selling your effort or trading your effort for somebody else who's all they're doing is leveraging it. It's the old adage, buy low, sell high. They're buying you low and selling you higher. It's another form of slavery. You know, you choose to do what job you do, but once again, somebody has to pick you. Are you worthy enough to receive a paycheck from ABC company? It's competitive. So if you're putting out the effort, doesn't it just make sense to make the effort work for you? Own it. You know, and I say this all the time. The highest form of entrepreneurship is being able to monetize your genius, which is the intersection of your passion and your talent. It doesn't get any higher than that. So you may be a genius at taxes or tax preparation. So my good buddy and my CPA, Thane Martin, used to work for one of the largest black tax preparation companies in the country. Did that for a while, a couple of years, and he always knew that he wanted to step out on his own. Now he stepped out and he has a very successful CPA practice. He owned his effort. He went and did his thing, learned what he needed to do, and then he took it to another level. And that's all I'm talking about, guys, is expanding your view from the micro to the macro. How can you fit in? How can your effort be leveraged? How can you make the money from that effort, as opposed to trading it and letting somebody else leverage your effort? So here's another example. So anybody that's in the IT field, right? If you work under a contract, so if you're in the DC area, you guys know there's tons of government contractors. So you have these contracting companies that come in, they pay you $60 an hour, but they're billing out $150 an hour. Buying low, selling high. It's leverage. Owning your effort. Now, a neighbor of mine, another good friend, was in the IT business. He started looking at the numbers Once again, like I said, I was one of the worst employees out there. I'm looking at the business or the numbers from a business standpoint, not from my own pocket. So he did the same thing. He was an IT guy. He said, this doesn't make any damn sense. So using the same example, instead of getting paid $60 an hour and the company's billing 150 out, he said, you know what? How about if I do the work and I bill out at 100, which is lower than what the big companies are billing at, but I'm still making more money. Instead of making the 60, I'm making 100. Owning the effort. You got to start thinking deeper. You got to start looking macro. Now, once again, certain industries, this does not work. And education, well, it could work in education if you own a charter school or a private school or something like that. But if it's a public school, it's not going to work. If you're a firefighter, it's not going to work. If you're a police officer, it's not going to work. But in most of the industries that are not public service industries, it can work. So what I'm trying to get through to you guys is you got to start looking at things a little differently than what you're looking at it now. Like I said, I go on a job and I start looking at, I'm like, damn, they're making this much money. How can I do this and make more money as opposed to working for somebody else? I'm a little different bird, though. My mind ticks a little different, I think, than a lot of people. My wife might probably say I'm crazy, and I'm sure I know she said it before. She over here looking at me now. but I think a little differently. So, I mean, guys, I just want you to have that mindset of empowerment, being able to think deeper, being able to think in the macro, not the micro. You take care of the macro is going to take care of itself. And that's what we get, that tunnel vision all the time. And also, guys, no time is going to be perfect to set out on your own. So if you do it from, as a side hustle and then build it into something, that's great. But you always want to start looking at things differently and start looking at it as a boss. Everybody's talking about boss up. Look at things as a boss, as an owner. So when you go on your job Monday, this is going to drop Monday morning. So when you go on your job Monday morning, think about how you fit into that. Think about what revenues or support factors that you bring to that company. And think about how they're leveraging your efforts versus you leveraging your own. So I'm just going to go back to these 4 questions again. And today, family, we're talking about own the effort. Leverage your own effort for profit. 4 questions you need to ask yourself. Question number 1, what part does your effort play in your employer's success? Where do you fit in? Are you in sales, which is revenue generation? Are you in support? Are you in tech? But what part does your effort play in your employer's success? Question number 2, can you personally monetize your effort outside of your workplace? Okay. Can you personally monetize your effort outside of your workplace? You got to make sure that it doesn't have a conflict of interest, obviously. All right. So if you're a salesperson, can you sell something else outside of your workplace? Question 3, how can you create income from your effort? Okay. How can you create income from your effort? If you're a custodian, you can start a custodial company, a cleaning company. It doesn't matter what you are. Once again, guys, if somebody's paying you for something, that means you have value. Trust me, if you're not getting paid at your job, that means you have no value unless you're an intern trying to learn. Okay? That was question number 3. And question number 4, can you scale that effort exponentially to increase your income? And before we close out, family, I just want to thank the BEB family in general, because each and every week we get more and more downloads, and that's attributed to you guys. So please continue to spread the word about the podcast and the blog via social media, word of mouth, smoke signals, whatever you got to do. I greatly appreciate it, because we're trying to get this good word out there and build this economic power base in the Black community. And the more people that hear it and gravitate toward it, the better. Also, if you need to connect with me, anything law, hit me on my email at jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, JAYJONES@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, Twitter, go to jjones001, JAYJONES001. Instagram, J Jones for real, JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, family. I have additional content that comes out on YouTube. Yes, the show comes out on YouTube, but I have additional content. So go to YouTube and type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint and hit the subscribe button. LinkedIn, go to J Jones Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. You'll find me. If you want to be included in the BEB text line for live notifications and reminders about special events, text BEB to 555-888, BEB to 555-888. I'm not going to bug the bejesus out of you. I just hit you on special events for notifications. And also, if you need me to come out to your school, college, university, church, or for my book tour, just go to bookjjones.com. Just fill out the short form and I'll get right back to you. So I'll see you guys same time next week. Love you. Peace.